Hello. Remember me? I was that guy that was going through Learn React for free on Scrimba in July and August of this year, and it's now September. Where the hell's he been? What's he been doing? Well, I kind of dropped off. Life's been getting in the way, but I'm now back on the bandwagon, the React bandwagon. So I got up to, I think, lesson of section 2. I've been through section 1. I got to lesson, excuse me, 22 and 23 in section 2, which was about props. Now, when I came back to it, I'd kind of forgotten everything pretty much that I'd learned, just about props. So what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks is just going through the whole of section 2 again, and I'm now back to the stage where, fingers crossed, I've got my knowledge back in there. And I'm going to tackle, I've done all section 2 now, apart from this. The solo project 2, which is live coding of a travel journal that they provide in a Figma file. So without further ado, let's get cracking. We'll get Bob up. Remember Bob? Let's get rid of that for now. And let's get rid of that as well. That's basically saying if you want to follow me on Twitter @JohnAsp. Also on GitHub. Like the video and sub to the channel if it's not shit, which it is. But I'm going to start making a few more of these again, so you might want to sub. Up to you. Right, let's get going, Bob. Although I have really rewatched this. Let's hear what he's got to say.
For another solo project, and this solo project is going to be especially important that you don't skip over it. The next section in this course is the heaviest section of the course, so it's going to be really crucial that you ensure that you understand everything that we've covered up until now. So what are we going to be building? You'll be building a travel journal. The idea of this travel journal is to highlight some of the places that you've been able to travel. Now, at the time of recording this, there isn't a whole lot of traveling happening. So if you want, you can use the example data that we have here. Otherwise, it would be awesome if you could share a version that has your own travels with your own photos in it. You can click the screenshot here, which will take you over to the Figma design. You can use that Figma design to find the spacing, the sizes, the font family, and all the other cool information about the design here. When you get over to Figma, you might notice other people's cursors and selections floating around. If you see that, you can click in the upper right with the zoom percentage and deselect multiplayer cursors. That'll make it a little less distracting to see other people moving around. And if you would like to make changes to the design, you can always click on the drop-down arrow by the name at the top and select Duplicate to your drafts. Now, I would ask that you don't click the Ask to Edit button, because if I did allow someone to edit it, it would change it for everybody else as well. Duplicating it to your drafts makes it so that you have a copy of it that you can change to your heart's content. At the time that I'm recording this, there's a little menu at the bottom with these 3 dots. You can click on that and then choose Fork to New Scrim. Although if the interface has changed since I first recorded this, you'll just have to search for an option that says Fork to New Scrim. Okay, let's actually look at what the requirements for this project are. Now, there isn't a server and a database with real data that's actually backing this project. So what you'll do is you'll create a separate array, and each of the objects in that array should contain some information about each one of the places that you're going to be putting in your travel journal. Now, just so you didn't have to do this completely from scratch, I created this data.js file that you can use as your starting point. Then you'll simply import that data.js file as if you were getting the data from a database. And from there, you'll need to use the .map method and props to create each of the entries in your travel journal. Then, as always with these solo projects, you'll want to make sure that you spend the extra time you need to make it really styled and polished. Now, as always, even though this is called a solo project, that doesn't mean you have to be completely alone. Either while you're in the process of working on things, if you have a question about something, or when you finish, you should be sharing your work. You can click on the Discord icon here, which will take you directly to the I Built This channel on the Scrimba Discord server. Of course, you could also go to one of the other channels if you just have questions about how to proceed with something. And if you're on Twitter, you can click the Twitter logo here, which will pre-populate a tweet where you can share your progress so far. Once again, these solo projects are the very best way for you to assess yourself, to test your own skills on everything that you've been learning so far, and to really ensure that you're ready to move forward. Assuming you can complete this project without too many roadblocks, that means you're good to go. And again, the next section is going to be the heaviest one of this course. So with all that said, good luck and happy coding.
Okay, quick pause there. I've got a image there. That'll hopefully work. Right, that's my data done. So can't be bothered changing Mount Fuji, Sydney Opera House, and Blackpool Tower. Right. So let's get the Figma up next, I guess. Quick look at it. What the hell's that? Not sure how this fork's working, by the way. Create clone of Scrim. Fork to a new Scrim. Well, we're in a fork, aren't we? Okay. So we've done the data array. Now we need to build the page, I guess. So how I may approach this is to build the layout just in HTML and CSS, and then chop it up into React components. I think that's probably the best way. Yeah. So I've got my Figma up on the screen next to me. So I'm just kind of going to try and live build it. Let's just run and see what's in there at the moment. Nothing. It's this hello world, isn't there? Which is coming from there, right? So he's written, so we've got that for free. I'm just going to comment that out to start with. I'm going to build it all in HTML. Let's whack this in the root then. So I'll start off with a header. In there, it's called My Travel Journal. Close the header. There appears to be some sort of globe image in there as well. I want to export that file. Right, he's not given us that, has he? So I've just gone into the Figma file now. I know you can't see this. I'll just try and explain what I'm doing. So I've exported the little globe icon. Let's see if I can import it. Let's create an images folder. Let's create a CSS folder as well. Let's create a components folder. Let's have a CSS file while we're at it. Let's move that in there. Make it a bit more realistic. Style. Right, so our header. We need to import the file, image file, don't we? New file. How do I bring a file in? Image file. New file. No. Can you just drag and drop? So I'm in my Finder app. Yes, yes you can. Oh, spelt wrong. Let's rename it. Let's call it Globe. Global. Ugh. Globe. Why does it still say global? Globe.png. Right. Finally. Let's go back to our index. Let's reference that in there. Image source equals. Missed the closing quotes. Missed the closing / Right, that's the header done. Let's put a bit of style in it. So the background colour is. Going back to Figma. Let's get the hex code. So just copy that into my clipboard. Yeah. Quite annoying that Figma doesn't copy the hash for you. Right. We've got this border, haven't we, all the way around the sides. We don't want that. Let's do a glow. So that's a global selector there. So let's remove the padding from around all the elements. Let's remove the margin around all the elements as well. That should give us that. Yep. Right, what font are they using? Inter. I'm not too fussed about that. Let's just put a. Has he given us the font? No. Let's go to Google Fonts then. I'm guessing it's a Google font. Yes, it is. I'm going to grab that from Google. Drop it in our CSS file. I'm just going to reference that globally as well, using the global selector. Alright, that should change. Has it? For some reason, my travel journal is all lowercase on the Figma. Text transform. To lowercase. Yep. For some reason, it's got a full stop in there as well. Like that. That image isn't working. Why is that? Because of that, I think. Yep. That looks a bit crap. How is it? Looks a bit pixelated, doesn't it? 24 by 24. Can't use SAS, can you? Pretty annoying you can't use SAS in the Scrimba editor. Why's that not worked? Sometimes find it's easier to do it like this. You can change it and it should. Yeah. So 24 is too big. That's pretty annoying. It's all pixelated and horrible. I wonder if I can output that as an SVG instead. Which means it will scale nicely, unlike that monstrosity. So let's go back into Figma. Select the same globe image, but change the file type to export as an SVG. I've done that. Import that into the images folder. There we go. Lovely stuff. Right, let's center align these things. Let's just change that size of that 24. It's only 14 pixels high. That. Tell you what, let's separate these out. So that's the wrapper. Let's put this in a H1. Guess that's semantically the correct tag to use because it is the title of the page. I guess this will go massive when I do that, yeah. So let's change that H1 to 14. It's only going to, I wouldn't normally just use a generic select like that because it selects everything, but we're only going to be using it once on this page, so. And that weight's too much, isn't it? Let's give it a weight of, we've got 400, haven't we, to play with. 400 and 700. 700's bold. Where's weight? Right, coming together. Let's do the centering. Display flex. So we've done half the job for us. Now, is it justify our line items? I always get these mixed up. No, I was right first time. Justify content. Okay. Let's have a bit of a gap. Did find actually, you can actually, when using grid, the gap property, which is, I think it's just designed for grid. I noticed it worked for Flexbox. See? It's about 6. Right, just gonna have to pause for a minute. Okay, that's the header done. Let's move on to the next bit, which is the main content. Let's wrap it all in a main. Again, I'd probably give this something, I'd probably give it a meaningful class, in fact, shall we? Let's go with wrapper. Each wrapper we've got a section. Should we use BEM? Why not? Blogs. Each. Right, this is going to be a component, isn't it? So each section is going to be a blog. There's 3 of them. Within there, we've got an image. Let's call it hero. Within each hero, we've got an image. It's got cover image. It's not technically a hero, is it? It's got cover image. And images. That path is going to be replaced, isn't it, by that's eventually going to be replaced by a prop, so let's just leave that as image.jpg. Let's test that JPG. It's not going to work, is it? But it's just a placeholder for the prop. Done that wrong, haven't I? We've kind of got two columns. So that's going to be the left column. And the right column, we're going to have the content. So let's call that div class. Blog is the block and the element content. What's preview do? What's that? Right, within the content we have we've got a header. I'm going to work it out. So there's the okay, so within the content we've got the location. They put all these in divs. So div class equals just thinking about the structure. To componentize everything. Oh, this is crap not having the thingy on the screen. The Figma for you to see. Try and find a way around that. Let me think. What about if I do this? Figma. Could do a bit of craziness. Set up. OBS. And the virtual cam. Get that looking at Figma. Bear with me a minute. Oh, come on, OBS. Why are you not loading? You know, right, finally. Let's do a window capture, Figma. Sorry, folks, do bear with. Right. I think we might be there. Hello. I don't want that. Let's try and Brave. Right. Has that made a difference? Hello. Hello. The hell? Where's the audio coming from? Right, I've muted. Muted Figma. Mute that. I don't get that. I don't need that. Right. Something to do with Brave. Where's that coming from? Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. What speaker is that coming from? Bizarre. Is that the Dell monitor? Let's go into Brave. Hello. Right, I think I've done it. There we go. That's how you get around not having... Right, I think that's the best layout, isn't it? I can always do that. That's a stream remove. Okay. Right, I've got the Figma up on screen now. Only an hour in. So as you can see, if I minimize Figma, don't need that. God knows what that's doing open. VLC, you can go. Go from there. That can go. Right, okay. Figma disappeared. Got an idea. Let's put it in. Let's put this on desktop. Flip between the two. That's it. Right, finally. It's not that big. Solo that. Right. Okay. In true Blue Peter style, here's what I prepared earlier. So I've done the header, dropped a few images in, set up my component structure, styles. So what I'm going to be doing, don't need that anymore. Let's get rid of that. So far my plan on the solo project, React journal, blog, I'll call it a blog. Whatever, I'll do what I want. Right, my travel blog. So I've done the header. Images, just test. I've dropped in the globe SVG there. And if you want to see, just for reference, there's the Figma file I'm working from. So I'm currently up to writing the markup for this. So I'm splitting this into two columns. That's an image column and this is a content column. So I'm just working out how to name these with components in mind. So I might call that a location component, header component, date component, copy component, or description component. So we've got one main, I don't know, blog component there, or trip. It's got trips and a trip. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? What I'm doing here. So I did just call it blog. Just trying to think components in mind. Right, so I'm going to call that trip content div, trip date, trip header, trip location. And the whole thing, the main component, is going to be called a trip with a wrapper called trips. That's fair enough. Let's get it back on. Just renaming a few things, right? So that main column of text I'm going to call trip details, I think. So in the details column, which is the one on the right hand side, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 elements in there. Don't know why I did that. That's that one. Right, so the first one is, it's the location, isn't it? So let's call it trip location. That's the first div. Next one, trip header. That could be a H2. We had a H1, haven't we? It's used in the header. H2. That's equals trip underscore header. We'll call that I'm a header. These are going to be replaced by props, remember. So location, actually in the location one, let's have a quick look at that. We've got a link. I'm going to mark this up. That's a country, and that's a link to Google Maps. There's an image in there, so I think we should split this into two. So let's have 2 paragraphs. Yeah. So I reckon country here and maps. Maps a link here. which may actually be an A. I think there's also an image reference in there, isn't there? There's an icon. So another look. Might be easy using font awesome. Let's use it. Right, so we've got 3 elements, haven't we? We've got an image as well. Gonna have to go in a minute. Kids football, source, images, pin, dot, it's got an SVG. Close that off. Right. Let's get rid of that for now. So we've got our header. What's under the header? Date. That's a bit more meaningful. So what we've got under that next one's going to be a date, isn't it? We should actually use the correct tag. Is there a date? Is there a date element in HTML? Sure there is. What does Mozilla Docs say? I think it's time. The time tag defines a specific time or date time. Sod that. Let's put div in. Give it a div. Let's give it a P. Let's give it a P. The class of trip date. Oh, 010101. Right, finally. What else is in there? There's the description. Summary, maybe. Again, that's another P tag, isn't it? Mind you, if there's multiple P's in there. I say that should be a div. And you can have P's within it. Kind of makes it a bit more flexible, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Div. Class equals trip. Summary. Within there. Is Lorem a thing in here? Nope. Just grab a bit of Lorem. There's a little line at the bottom, isn't there? Let's put a border bottom. Right, as for the HTML, I think we're done. Yeah, let's bring that up. Right, that's the markup done. However, there's a lot of padding, isn't there? Let's go into our CSS file. So there's a lot of padding around trips, so that's what 40 looks like. Yeah, that's all right. 40. So that's pretty much spot on. Right, I think we need to tidy this HTML up, don't we? So it looks a bit more like that. That's weird. Where's my travel blog gone? Oh, let's get me back on. Why not? Right. I'm just going to find a window. Right, pin SVG is now in there. See if it still moans. No, there's the pin. There. Right. Let's get that layout sorted. I'll sort out this long image later. Oh, coffee. Back in a minute. Okay. Take 2 trips. Okay, so I'm just going to put a border around it so we know where we are. Bad choice, green. Right. So that's that. Let's put it a 2 by 2 grid. So within trip, we've got the trip image and the trip details. So I've turned that into a grid. So I'm telling the left column to be 200 pixels. Then the right column take up the rest of the space whatever's available. 280 maybe. No? That's why that's not. The image wasn't growing, which I thought was a bit weird. So take out that. I don't know why. Why did I put that on there? Ah. Set it to width 100 pixels, 100%. Keep it fluid. There you go. Cool. Quick flick on the Figma, see how wide it is. Figma is telling me this is 125 pixels wide by 168 high. There we go. That's looking better. Make that the same. Let's put a grid gap of 20. Looking better already. Okay. It's looking better. You can't see it 'cause I've not changed. There we go. Didn't change the view. It's a bit bigger so you can see it. Let's make the code a bit bigger and all. Right, what do we need to do next? this header area. So what's it look like? Okay, so we've got the thing, the pin, the country name, and then a link. So the country name's in caps. Let's go look at our markup. So that's there. Probably needs to have a unique class. Not a unique class, just a class. So let's call it trip location, country, maybe. Let's call this one trip location map. We can hook onto those two values. So let's give trip location country new class. Let's transform that to uppercase first. Why has that not worked? Use the wrong property. I don't think so. Let's just hard code Japan in, see what it does. Ah, didn't save it, that's why. So if you can see there, it's capitalized. Do you know, I'm thinking this should be an anchor instead. That's it probably should be. It's got href in it as well, yeah. That's going to be the location of the link. Yep. Right, we need all these in a line. So let's make the container trip location. Let's make it a flex container. Okay. So what's the styling like? Okay. Let's get these properties for the country and the link off Figma then. So what's that? Font size is 10. Regular. It's also got some letter spacing. Or kerning, I believe it's called in the print world. 17%. 17% of what though? Text size 10. Let's go as font size, isn't it? Till it's light. 10. That looks a bit small. $12 looks better to me. I think the properties actually call letter spacing. Let's make it half the biggest term now, a quarter. It's too much, isn't it? Yeah, it's good enough. Right, and then there's a gap. It's a margin right value of about 4, 6. Try that. Yeah, a bit of a gap there. I'll do. A bit more on the Figma. Let's do it 8 then. Right, let's now style this link. Again, it's like Figma. Location map. Font size again, 12 looks like. What actually is it on the Figma? Looks a bit bigger. Says it's 10 again. Oh well, leave it at 12. It's also a grey colour, isn't it? Let's try EA. Bit darker. Try DDD. Sod it, let's put grey. Bit lighter, isn't it? That's got a space there next to the fact. Let's put one left and right. Yeah. Not the same space. So top, right, bottom, left. Yeah, looks alright. Looking for my Ember mug. Ember Smart mug. Keeps coffee hot all the way down. It regulates its temperature. 110 quid, I think it was. 120. One of the best things I've ever bought. I think I'm mad. Anyone who likes coffee hot all the way down, thank me later. I highly recommend it. Put a bit of padding above and below the header. Looks to me like there's double the amount bottom than there is top. A crappy design who designed this. IMO. Anyway, right, what's the class for the header? Trip header. Right, let's get the view back on. Don't want to see media. Right, so I've done the design. Now comes the interesting part. Converting this raw HTML file into React components. Get this frigger out of the way. Why is it not moving? Don't want it there. Time is it? 11:15. Right, let's get around some React. That's what we're all here for. This is so annoying. Why can't I move it all the way to the right? Sod it, you can live there then. Right, let's get going. Right, so we've got all this code in the index file. Let's get it all into an app component to start with. So, new file. App.js. He always use caps, didn't he, Bob? So let's copy him. App.js. Guess our first job then is just to I didn't do that. Oh, there's app.js. Import React from React. Now comes the hard part. Can I remember what I was doing? Can't remember how to write stuff. Can't remember how to write stuff from scratch. Right. I think it was function, wasn't it? Function app. And you just drop it all in there. So everything. I've just written goes in here. For now. You have to export that, don't you? Export. Default. App. And then you have to import it. It's in the way of my keyboard. So we've created an app component there. So we'll comment this now. Instead of hello world, we want to component. I bet this doesn't work. No, I don't think it would. What was this? Adjacent JSX must be enclosed. Okay. What did it like? Not returned either. Okay, it doesn't like that then, because there's no parent. So what I'm going to do, change that to div, bring that up, wrap the whole thing in a main. So we've got header, div, okay. Put that around the end. Yeah, error's gone. You notice my screen's really dark because it's hurting my eyes at night. I've got 2 lights. Watch. See? I'll turn it right down. It's a bit better, isn't it? It's a bit of a softer light. Might make me a bit orange, but better than it was. Good God, it's worked. Stands back in amazement. Invalid DOM property. Did you mean class name? I did. Oh, bollocks. I'm going to have to change all these, aren't I? Right, it's complaining about that because this is now JSX. See, JSX attribute class string. Okay. Oh, we've got multiple cursors. Wow, didn't need to have that in the Scrimba editor. Right, watch this. Not that. Right, let's see if it stops complaining. Yeah. Right, why is that all messed up though? Didn't look like that, did it? Ah. I'm flummoxed. I'm flabbergasted. I've actually got a component working. I'm quite pleased with myself. Right, let's get rid of this horrible green border that I put around. Don't know why I did that. That was on the main, wasn't it? That's that purest green. What the fuck? How is it? Ah. Right, that's gone. Right, let's break everything down and put everything into components. So that should say my travel blog, but it's just disappeared on my Figma for some reason. I mean, I deleted it like a dick. What have I done? Must have. Oh well. Doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm going to componentize all these screen elements. So I'm going to put the header in a component. So I like to live life on the edge. Caps. Header.js. Right, what should we use for components? Let's header.js. How anal are we going to get in these components? Right, one there. Let's make the image a component. And let's make the content component. So that's 1, 2, 3, 3 components. Yeah, okay. Can you duplicate? No. What did I call that image? It wasn't a hero, was it? It was. I'll call it an HTML. Just call it an image. Anyway, let's chop this out. Let's put that in there. I suppose this is good practice, isn't it? Do you have to write this at the top of every import React from React? I'll write it so it gets into my muscle memory. Import React. I actually forgot what this does. Just need it. Export default. So this is exporting the function. It contains the header. Let's exporting the component rather. Function, header. Return. This is the return value from the function. Let's drop that in there. Good, it's got its parent already. Parent wrapper, so I don't worry about that. Indent that. Import that component into app.js. We should have just put comps. It's a bit easier to type. Right, and we want. No, we don't. Header. This shouldn't work. Correct. What's it complaining about? Unknown require. I'm already in the components folder, I guess. Yes. App's not technically a component, is it? So I don't know why I've put it there. Let's move it out. Yeah. Right, that should work now. So I think I need to just call a component, don't I? The header component. Yeah. Header. Yes. Coolio. So now I can call. Oh, shite. I could put loads of headers on there now if I wanted to. Right, next up. Then I'll just create a trip component. So I've got the header. A trip. Put that in there. Been at this for over an hour. Time's flown. I'm going to get this done before bed, I think. I'll do the props tomorrow. But mate. So to leave that in there. They're all children of Maine. So that stays in there. And we want to call all the trips in there. Yeah. So let's just put that in. That's all the trips code. That's the trip component code. So I need to import React from React. I'm going to look that up, what that is again. Just enables React. That's all you need to know. And then export the component function. Turn it. Turn this. Should put that in. Okay. That should now break. Yeah. Let's check I've done that right. Yeah. No, I haven't not given it a name. Trip. import the trip component. Let's call an instance of the trip there. Header has already been declared. What? What the frig's it on about? Syntax error. Where header has already been declared. Import reactive. Import. Export default. Yeah. Put header twice. There we go. Right, it's worked. I'm going to call it... God. Call it an evening now, I think. But I've made quite good progress there. I've got a header component. I've got a trip component. Feeding into the main app.js. The main app file is calling the header component and it's calling the trip component. Currently all hard-coded data. However, that will change tomorrow when I use this data using the array.map method to pull this data out and reference it in props. That will make these components dynamic. In fact, I won't even do that one. I'll just be the trip. So yeah. This will be released as one video, so I'll just pretend I've not said all that. See you in the next video. Okay. Back after a bit of a break last night. Right, so let's recap where I was. I have hard-coded this in HTML and CSS, so I've created the design. I've created a trip component there where it's all hard-coded in. So the next job is to get the data in. So this is, I made some notes as I've been going actually, just to remind myself what's going on. This is the trips data array, where I've put in Mount Fuji, copied theirs. It's in the Opera House. The way. And Blackpool Tower. So I need to pull that data into app.js. Pass it to the component or create a component. And call a component in there. And that should complete the task. So first things first, Let's get that up a bit. These are my instructions I've just written myself, reminders. So in here, I need to set up this is the trip component. Now I need to let it receive props. So I'll do that there. The second one is to replace all this hard-coded data with the actual props that I need. So, for example, in there, I'll be typing props dot, and then let's look at the data file. I completely forgot which one I was looking at, images. Goldfish has better memory than me. Right, so it's the images, isn't it? So let's look in the data file. That one, in it. Image URL. So let's use the name of that. Oh, forgot. Oh no, it doesn't matter. In fact, I will. Let's just take a copy of that and temporarily put it in here. And we've got all the names there, what we can play with. So we've got the name of the properties of this object. So that's that one done. Boom. Next one. Let's keep going down. What we got? That pin's never going to change. Japan stub. So we want to receive the location there, don't we? Yep. So props. That's the object, and the name is location. Bosh. Gone. Next one, maps link here. So that's going to be the Google Maps URL, isn't it? Props. Dot. Google Maps URL. Next one. Let's get rid of that. It's quite satisfying getting rid of them as you go. Trips header location goes here. So I guess that's title, isn't it? Tell you what, let's increase our productivity. Mine, by doing props dot. Let's get that in the clipboard. Right, we want the title there, don't we? Get rid of that. So stub there, yeah, that's hard coded. Stub data is a shortcut for hard coded data. Start date. Okay. I want start date and an end date, I think. Let's just put a dash in there for now. End date. Finally, description. Why is it moaning? Okay, just to catch up back where we were. This is where I am. This is all hard-coded in HTML, CSS, and it is also living within a trip component, which I've created here. Now my next task is to set up this to receive props. Set up this component so it receives props around the hard-coded information. So what I've done with the data file, which is there, as you can see my little notes that I'm putting in there. This is a trips data array. And it's an array of objects. So if you can see there, 1 trip object, 2 trip objects, 3 trip objects, and so on. So I need to now set up the trip component. I'll just show you what I did there actually. Let's get rid of that. It's causing errors. So I've just copied this. 1 object, set of properties, and I've just pasted it in there so I can reference the name. Right, so in true Blue Peter style, help if I could talk. Blue Peter was a kids' TV program in England when I was a lad, and they used to do things in advance to kind of show you to speed the process up. So I've actually done this and go, here's one I prepared earlier. So I have put the props in already. So if we go, he says, right, watch this. Right. Oh, I'm going to have to do it again. Scrap everything I just said. Right. So let's set up. So that's going to receive the props object as an argument there. So that's going to the function. Oh, that one's worked for some reason. So I'm going through these one by one. That was the, that's how you pull in the props URL. Sorry, the image props URL. So that's going in there. Bad idea putting chewing gum in before you about to start streaming. Take that out. Right, next one. Where I wrote stub there, didn't I? So that is the country. And that's that one, isn't it? Let's put that in there. So country props, sorry. Let's get this to the clipboard so I can use it again. Props.country. Next one. That's the maps URL, which is that one. And to the point, you can actually put your own. You can make those up, I think. You can. You know, rather than actually having to match that precisely, you can make your own prop names up here. I think you can. let's just call it Google Maps then and see if we get it working later. If not, we know that for sure, don't we? Right, location. Again. I've lost my. I've lost my little shortcut time saver of getting that into the clipboard. Right. Props dot. That's location, wasn't it? Perhaps I should have named that location. CSS class. Oh well. Alright, next one. Start date and end date. So we've got start. That's handy. It's filled in for us. And end date. Finally. Description. All right, have I covered all bases? That's not changing, so that stays the same. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, yeah. Let's get rid of these, it's causing error. Right, so in the trip component, I have set up the function to receive the props. The props code replacing the hard-coded data. So let's leave it in there for shits and giggles. I'll save that. That'll break. Yeah, that's what I expected. Task 2 is in app.js. So if you're interested, this is how I tend to break things down into steps. So you're not sitting in front of a computer thinking, right, what do I do? Just a bit of thinking beforehand of what you need to do, log it, and then you could go through things one by one. Makes things a bit easier. That saying, isn't there? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's the analogy there. Right, so first thing we need to do is import the trip's data, which I've already done. So I'm importing the trip data there. There. So always a good practice is just to console log the name of your array that you've just imported. Let's just see if it works. Log it so you can see what date we have. No. Computer says no. Why not? Do that. Come on. What's up with that? Does that work? That won't work, will it? No. Hang on a minute. Why is it just logging that? Do I need to map over it first? Oh, what an idiot. Hashtag thicko. Come on, John. Get it together. Spelt wrong. Oh, fuck, what? React doesn't have access to the actual error object in development. What? Does that matter? What is going on? See how Bob's done it. So he imports jokes data from jokes data, which is that. How's that different to mine? Does he log his at the beginning? Ah, he does it in the function, right. Do you know what I'm going to call that? Trips. Make it more meaningful. But you've got to call it data there, I believe. I'm confident this will work now. Oh, piss off. Let's look how Bob does it. Console log jokes data. Why the is it the name of that file? Does it have to be the same? What does that mean? Because of that? Ugh. Fucking hell. Oh, God. Right, that's why. So you can let's call that trips. Always good to see live debugging. Click things, move things, delete things till it works. That's my technique. Right, that's good. Finally. So I've learnt something there. You can call that what you want. So that's a new array that you've created. Right, so we've got our array, trips data. We've logged it. See what we have. And to make sure the data import worked. Done. Let's get rid of that. Step 3. Map over the trips data in a new array to create a call. Right. So what we need to do now, we're creating a new array. We'll call it trips. And in there, we're going to stuff it with trips data. I'm going to map over it and put it in the new variable. Put it in the new array. And of each item, we're going to pull out all the data out of each object and put the object's properties as props in the call to the trip component, I think. Right. So that's looking in this existing array there. This is going to map around each object. Create a new array, trips, with the modified contents of the array, and the modifications in this case are going to be the creation of an instance call to the trip component. And to do that, we're going to use, so for every trip, use an arrow function. Oops. Bollocks. That. You can put all this on one line, but I think it's a bit easier just to do it here. And you're returning. So we're going to return a call to the trip component. There. So put it down there. Is it easy to read? Yeah, I think so. Oop. Oop. Okay, so we now need to look at each prop that we're sending in, that we're receiving. So it needs prop image URL. Get rid of that. In fact, we could do. I don't suppose it matters what order we do it in, does it? So. Trip. I need to name the prop, don't I? Call this what I want, can't I? Let's call it title equals trip dot title. Yeah, it's got it. Next one, location. Next prop. And now we're going to use trip dot location, funnily enough. So you have to match the name of the properties here. So we can call that whatever we want, like, I don't know, bollocks. And as long as you put bollocks as the receiving prop name, you're good. But we won't, because we're not immature. Next one. Google Maps URL. Now, this is one where I've named it myself, isn't it? So let's use this as a test. So I've just called it Google Maps. Okay, I checked. So that's the name of the property this is expecting. So we have to match these two up. Google Maps equals trip. Get that out of the way. Better angle here. You still hear me? Yeah. Trips. Sorry, trip dot. We have to pull that out there. Next one. You can't hear me, can you? Start date. I guess it's just the easiest to keep all the names the same. Keeps it clean. You don't have to, but may as well. Why make life complicated for yourself? Quite boring this now, isn't it? And I think so. When I've done this, got it working, I've completed the challenge. Trip end date. Description. That's really annoying. Grammarly. Stuffed. Turning it off. Okay, done it. Have I? The props we've got there, 6. Check the data file. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've missed one. What have I missed? Title, location, Google Maps, start date, end date, description. What? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's image URL, isn't it? That's not in there. There you are. You little shit. Right, I think I've done the challenge. I think I've done it. So, there we go. I've set this up on my Stream Deck now. I'm using OBS. It's easier. So that's the Figma. That's the Scrimba. And I think I have pasted in all this data. Well, I've not pasted the data in. I've now set up a component that should take in all the props and work. All right, 3, 2, 1. Bollocks. What have I not done? I haven't called the new trips array that I've created there. Right. That's easy to do. Is it that? Sorry, it's just that, isn't it? It's not a function. Right. You all ready? 3, 2, 1. Bollocks. What have we not done? Let's console log trip, see what the crack is. Undefined. Let's look at Bob's. What's he done that I haven't? Well, that can piss off. What is it? Right, unexpected token. Ugh, that's fine. Don't even know if you can log the console. It's not moan, does it? Oh, this worked. Look. Maybe it's a problem with the. It's a problem with this then. What have I not done? Fucking called it. No, it's not Trips Day, it was Trips. Oh. Right, that's not working, is it? Okay. So the problem's here. Just got 3 undefined. So that's correct. It's something or nothing, I bet. What is it? The problem is in here somewhere. Undefined. Saying Trips is undefined. What does that mean? Variable that has not been assigned a value. No, it's not been assigned a value. It's undefined. So it's not been assigned a value. Okay. Well, yes, it is. What? Where does Bob do it? What have I done wrong? Trips. Don't trip, right. I'm going to pause this, go for a piss, and come back. Okay. Went for a piss in a brew. Took my head out of it, and the solution was simple. I hadn't imported the trip component into app.js, so it didn't know anything about it. So import trip from components trip. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Third time lucky, I believe it. This is known as run. Unknown error. What the fuck? Anyway, it's worked. Look, it's worked. Oh. No, it hasn't. Nearly. That's what it should look like. Should look like that. Looks like that. It's nearly there, isn't it? Look. Oh, my view on Google Maps hasn't worked either. All right, a few things to address then. Let's go back. Right, let's fix the Blackpool link. Why is that not working? Do you need source before it? Yes, there we go. That's fixed. So I'll just keep going over to my Elgato Stream Deck to do this. Right, what else ain't working? Why have I put Austria in as well? Zoom in. Oh, put Austria. Let's fix that. Ironically, I've been to Austria quite a few times to Mailhofen snowboarding. Australia. Cheers. Here's to the brew, which saved the day. Right, so we need that link there to say view on Google Maps rather than the actual URL. So let's have a look at that. So this needs to be wrapped in an anchor. No, it doesn't. What am I on about? Hang on. Right, that's it. There we go. That needs to go in there. So that's the href. This needs to say view on Google Maps. Yeah. How's that looking? Shikes, I've done it all wrong. So yeah, I've got the. I'm pulling in the location in the wrong place, aren't I? That should be a location. Should be title. Yep, that's better. And I'm missing the. I'm missing the country. If you've seen the Figma there, next to the pin. It's a bit small. I haven't put the country in there, so let's remedy that. I'm a bit concerned that's not working. It's not highlighted there. See the Google Maps thing. Let's test that after this anyway. You obviously need to put your props reference not in quotes. That's the same with the image there. Right. Country's not working, is it? So we've got the pin. Got the country. I've got view in Google Maps. So that's not working. Props country. I've got it location. Cool. There we go. Make it bigger. Right, that's me. That's Figma. Me. Figma. Me. Figma. Me. That's me. Good enough, more or less. Bob did say polish it. All right, well, we can see there's a bit of a line there, isn't there? So we could put a border bottom on that to create that. Yeah, let's do that. That'll create an actual divider in there as well. Just separate the chip components out a bit. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's get back to 0. But let's zoom up. Let's notch it up a bit. Make it a bit easier to read, won't it? I've got this on the biggest font size available. I haven't. Probably it is easier to read, isn't it? On internet. Right. So let's do this in CSS. Let's look at the trip component. So each one of these is wrapping. I reckon it needs a margin bottom to start with of let's get this down there. Noise gate. If I talk here, it doesn't pick a lock up. I can hear the gate kicking in. If I talk here, Does this OBS have a noise gate built in? No, it's probably happening on my roadcaster. Anyway, sorry, digressing. Right, let's look at that. Cool, that's separated that, but we're going to need padding on the bottom as well, aren't we? Cool, that's better. There we have it, folks. John's first ever React app. That's the Figma version. That's my version. Let's make it bigger again. Give myself a pat on the back there for a job well done. Let's just test the actual link works. No. Ah, it's not letting me, is it? Oh well. Alright, just to... Ooh, that doesn't look good, does it? If this is a production site, I'd be fixing that, but I can't be arsed. Just for a demo. So I guess just to illustrate the usefulness, power, whatever you want to call it, of React. So let's imagine I'm hitting an endpoint which is pumping out more data, a database, whatever, and it's spitting out this data file. It's giving us this data. I can't be asked typing new information, but let's just change the titles. Blackpool Circus. Blackpool FC. I may actually go in these in a minute after I recorded this. What's that warning? I think Bob mentioned that each child should have a unique key prop. So what? But you get the idea now. Complete separation of data from the front end code. So if you want to get new items appearing, just query your database or your API, whatever. It'll bring back data, and the app will now automatically display your new items. Cool, eh? Let's put my lights on. Got that on my Stream Deck as well. I love Stream Deck. Right, I think I'll dust my hands down and say, job well done, John. Quite pleased with that. So that was section 2 of the Learn React for Free course completed on Scrimba. Now we've got section 3 to do, which I'm looking forward to because we're going to be looking at integrating APIs and endpoints and all that jazz. So we're going to be pulling in actual real life dynamic data in. So I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for watching. It's been a slog getting here, but we've got there in the end. And See you on the next videos.